Welcome back to Hungary, the 36th World Artistic Gymnastics Championships from Debrecen. Vassos Alexander alongside me, Monica Phelps, and these the semi-finalists of the bars, starting with Monica Bergamelli of Italy, 15th after the qualifiers. A reminder that the top 8 go through to the final. The marks from the qualifiers do not count towards this semi-final mark.
And this very, very difficult discipline. Finishing there with half in, half out. On this bar exercise, basically, we're looking for as many release and catch movements, a flowing set of skills, moving, showing transitions from the bottom to the top bar, the top to the bottom bar, releasing and catching the same bar, and twisting on a long axis and somersault axis. And if you can manage to add all of that together successfully, then you'll come out with a fair old mark. 8.787 for Bergamelli, setting the challenge, and that's not too high a mark for the rest to beat.
Yes, unlikely to make the final. Next, another Brazilian gymnast, Carolina Molinari from Curitiba in Brazil. So, Monica, what are the judges looking for on these bars? A flowing routine, you say, and not that?
No, that was a mishap hand slip. They're looking for straight arms, straight legs. When the lifts to handstand are direct, that's the catcher. They're looking for the recatch being on straight arms. The body line being pure throughout the skills. And a still landing, a motionless landing. There are a few special requirements the gymnasts have to fulfill. Besides the difficulty content, they need to move from the low to the high bar with flight, the high to the low bar with flight. They have to release and catch the same bar, preferably doing either a somersault or a somersault and a twist. And they must show at least a D level difficulty dismount in this competition 3. She did extremely well to carry on because she had a total miscatch. And there the double front somersault from the reverse hand grasp. There are lots of different hand grasps that can be used. That's forward with the fingers wrapping forwards around the bar. Under grasp, where sometimes the thumb is on the top and the palm of the hand is underneath the bar. Then there's called L grips, if you can imagine placing your hands forwards and turning them inside out so the little fingers are touching, and that's called L grip. And according to the difficulty of the hand grasp, the element can either be a C or a D difficulty. Most difficult skills are super E's, and by the time the gymnasts start with 3 C's, B's, 4 A elements, they have a value of 8.8, providing they've got all of their special requirements, and then they've got 1.2 left to try and accumulate bonus points. So it's 8.8 plus however much of that 1.2 they can get in bonus points,
minus
which is their
mistakes.
Start value, and then it's the mistakes on top of that. But you have a technical collaborator who works out, and Molinari there had a start value of 9.5, and her final score was 8.52.
8.52.
8.525, actually.
8.525, which puts her provisionally in second place. But there are 14 to come, and many of the favourites for this bars competition are coming later. It's a quiet start. Next, Verona van der Leur from the Netherlands.
And a superb bar worker. I shouldn't say things like that because I put the kiss of death on gymnasts again and again and again. She came there from the endo with the half twist to do the mo catch, and she's such a tall girl, and her feet touched the top bar. She came off, lost 5/10, and she's certainly lost her chance of being in the final.
Well, she's in the vault final, as we just saw.
She actually made 4 finals, so let's hope she gets a medal somewhere along the line. She's reigning European silver medalist. And for a 16-year-old, certainly not bad stuff. And full twisting double back dismount. So she most certainly would have, without mistakes, have started off with a 10 start value, and that there are not many. There are probably not more than a dozen gymnasts in the world producing a 10 start value. That the piked Jaeger somersault. And that's where it all came to grief. But she managed to pick herself up and continue the routine cleanly. But a shame for her. She'd have been in with a shout of a medal, most certainly.
Qualified down in 13th for the semi-finals. I would have been hoping certainly for a place in the final. And then to perform when she got there. Waiting for her marks. Nothing yet.
Well, she'll be in the mid to high eights. She'll be very lucky too. On form, it's like so many of these gymnasts. The routines, many of them are so difficult and so complicated that under the pressure, just a slight arm bend, a slight movement messes up the whole sequence of skills.
It's a case of keeping your nerve on the big stage. All the practice, all the work you put in, and just hope it all stays together. Next up, as we still wait for the marks for Van der Leur, it's Amélie Plante of Canada. 19 years of age, from Joliette in Quebec. 10th all-round in Ghent in 2001 in the World Championships. Qualified 14th. For the semi-finals. Remember, 16 semi-finalists and just 8 finalists. Monica, why does it take longer for the marks to come through on the bars than it does on the vault?
Basically because you've got judges at each side of the podium on bars, where on vault they're all on the same side, so they all basically get the same picture. But from different angles, judges can pick up slightly different deductions, and they would have to then discuss them.
8.375. The mark for Van der Leur. He puts it down in 3rd position.
But a very good set of scores from the judges. There's only one at 8.5, and all the rest 8.3, 8.35, 8.3, 8.35, and one at 8.55. So they're within the bracket. They shouldn't differentiate more than about 0.2 when they're marking between 8 and 8.5.
So Amélie Plante of Canada.
The Hecht mount at the regular kip. Oh, and a death. That's a 1.5 twist to recatch. Many of these skills innovated on high bar by men. There's a full turn there, and another full turn. Looks like she might have gone wrong. Well, she escaped and went into the Ginger somersault, so that's 2 release and catch skills. To handstand, a little bit off center and opening her legs. So she gets a penalty for that. Winding up towards the dismount now. That left leg bending as it passes the bar each time. And double layout. So most definitely high content. The question is, how hard will they be on execution?
Well, so far she hasn't got that much to beat. 8.757, 8.325, 8.525 rather, and 8.375. The 3 marks that precede her.
But 2 of those had falls from the apparatus and would otherwise have been in the very high 8s. And their form was better. It really, they could hit her very hard on execution. because her start value will be above 9.8.
8.975 she was given for her qualification. Just to put that in context, the darling of Debrecen, Svetlana Korkina, was given 9.737. 8.687 is Plant's mark. 8.687.
And they've given her a start value of 9.4. So I think in the middle she suggested that she might have lost it. She did full twisting giant and then an upstart and then repeated the full twisting giant. I think when she went into the second giant, it should have been into just the half turn, and that is the error. She obviously missed a connection, or an intended connection.
And so to the girl who qualified 16th for the semi-finals, from Israel, Stefani Zaruk. And she is also 16 years of age, a student from Holland.
Healy into endo. A tucked Jaeger somersault. Undershoot to handstand, which didn't make, I don't think they'd count that. Connected with a Mo. Back stalled it again into 1.5 turn. That's the fourth 1.5 turn. I think that she'll get hammered for the same use of a skill throughout. She's obviously a master at it, but unless the turn is completed within 10 degrees, it doesn't get recognized. There, into the tucked Jaeger, so that was the Healy into the 1.5 inward somersault, then the undershoot to handstand into that flight transition with counter action. There it goes. It's called a Mo. Very popular skill at the moment. A method of getting from the bottom to the top bar with flight. And here the combination into the dismount, she just didn't get her heels high enough before the release to make her 2 somersaults turn and get to feet rather than to seat.
The thoughts of Monica Phelps, formerly an Olympic gymnast herself, now a coach from Bournemouth in England. And we wait to see the marks of Stefani Zaruk of Israel. A hug from her compatriot, but still to come. Svetlana Korkina, that's who the crowds have come to see. You can see the hall itself is filling up. They know that she's to come. Just one more Renata Kiss of Hungary, and then it's Korkina. Zaruk still waits for her marks, the 16-year-old. She'll be disappointed, but she did well to make the semi-finals.
8.187 for Zaruk. And
well, that's down in 5th place.
Start value of 9.4. Of course, the audience will be getting very excited for their the Hungarian interest. Renata Kiss, who's actually qualified for 2 of the finals.
Very harsh judging from the Israeli judge as well, you'll have noticed. Renata Kiss comes next. Then it's Korkina. (16 years of age, from the Hangarotel club.
Good line into the Stolder. That's called a back sole circle. Stolder half turn. Owen struggling up to handstand to make that endo, but a nice full turn into the Jaeger somersault. Undershoot to handstand. nippy way of doing the mo from the half stalder circle, full turn from the stalder, and triple twisting, back away to finish. Great to see her get through clean, and all the aspiring Hungarian junior gymnasts here in full regalia of support and makeup and flags on their cheeks. That's great.
Yes, plenty of support, of course, for Kiss. The only Hungarian in these semi-finals for the bars. 9th place she qualified. And that probably, Monica, the best routine we've seen so far.
Absolutely. And, you know, negativity and failure in competition finals, it's like a virus, and to get up there when she's seen 2 or 3 people come to grief, oh dear, she put a hand on the floor in that dismount, which I didn't notice. In slow motion, she dropped her hand down to the floor. She may well have touched the mat.
An anxious wait then. Did the judges spot it?
I'm sure they did. I certainly didn't. But this is the great thing about technology nowadays, you know. See it all through in slow motion, and we can dissect it and give a good old post-mortem.
Well, that is who plenty have come to see. Svetlana Korkina, the looks of a supermodel, and a fairly talented gymnast too. 8.507, the marks of Kiss.
5.87.
És az a hölgy következik most, aki Európa világ és olimpiai bajnok feladásokban. Svetlana Korkina, Oroszországból.
Well, Renata Kiss got a big cheer, and so does this woman, Svetlana Korkina of Russia.
Yeah, the greatest component of asymmetric bars ever. Undefeated since Olympic Games in Atlanta in 1996. World, European and Olympic champion. And is just perfect. Straight arms, straight legs, perfect timing on everything she does, and a perfect landing. She is just unbelievable. She reads the apparatus.
Simply awesome. 22 years old, undefeated, as you say, since Atlanta. Gold medals galore. She'll be expecting another one. Here, she qualified for the semi-finals, of course, in first place. And, well, find fault with that, Monica.
Very difficult too. Yes, you can find fault. You can say she's got a slight arm bend there. But to be perfectly honest, it is, you know, when you spend all of your life coaching the sport, the way she is so nimble and flits from bar to bar and somersaults and circles, and she doesn't put a hair out of place. She doesn't even look puffed out when she's finished. She doesn't even wear hand guards, which suggests how light she is on the apparatus. 9.762.
Well, that's nearly, I mean, that's in first place by a mile.
Yes, and with a 10 start value, 4 9.75s and 2 9.8s, and great judging. And next up we have
yes, Elizabeth Tweddle.
Yes, the greatest ever British gymnast. She medalled, first British gymnast ever to medal in a European Championships. Got a bronze on the asymmetric bars. And Beth became brilliant on the bars almost by chance, because she had a severe ankle accident at the British Championships, and she was confined to asymmetric bar work, and this inquiring gymnast just worked so very, very hard. She's quiet, diligent, but very hungry.
Commonwealth Games champion on the A-bars, silver medal in the all-round, as a member of the English team, representing Great Britain here in Debrecen, and there's support for her as well. originally born in Johannesburg, and now lives in Liverpool. And she is 16 years of age. 17.
And she is a beautiful bar worker. Just hope it all goes well for her. Ginger coming in a little close to the bar. Nice combination. Flared arm there in the Healy from inverts. This really is fantastic gymnastics from Beth. Corkina. Oh, yes. And great stuff there from Beth Tweddle, coached by Amanda Harrison from the Liverpool club, the club that claims fame to the British senior, junior and espoir champions.
Yes, Beth delighted with that. It came together for her. And you say Corkina showed her how it's done. And she responded.
Great stuff. I think she probably, if I was to talk to her, I think she might criticize herself a little bit on the ginger. She knew that came a little bit close to the bar, to what she normally does, perhaps an anxiety, just a little late on the release, but other than that, she didn't make any errors. Full of smiles. There's Amanda, her coach Amanda himself, a former Olympian. And let's see what they give her. Oh, 9.387, and that's a great score for Beth Tweddle, putting her in second place. Rebecca Owen, her teammate from Park Wrekin, full of smiles too. Rebecca having performed on floor in the qualifiers and coming around about 15th.
Yes, Beth qualified for the semi-finals in 8th place. But with 8 to go, she's lying second. Here's Laura van Leeuwen of the Netherlands, qualified in 10th. Some of the big names still to come, including Kupitz.
Stalled a 1.5 turn into Jaeger. Nice skill. Oh, and that E element, that's Christova. This spectacular gymnastics. Very good work. Stick the landing, yes. And that was a spectacular routine. Some very difficult work there from Van Leeuwen. And she'll be relieved to have got into the semi-final and then delivered the goods. There, the Jaeger somersault. Again, a little bit close to the bar, thus the bent arms. So the timing of the release not perfect, but there aren't many gymnasts as perfect as Corkina, but a lovely undershoot to handstand. There is Stolder with the full turn into the Mo from a Stolder circle.
Yeah, speaking of Corkina, she really is the Kornikova, if you like, of the gymnastics world. The only difference being she has the modelling, she has the films and the adverts and everything, but she can actually do her sport. Kornikova yet to win a tennis event. Corkina almost yet to lose, certainly on the A-bars. 9.312 for Van Leeuwen, behind Tweddle.
That's great for Tweddle. Absolutely great.
What it means is there are 6 to go. Only if all of them beat Tweddle, then she'll miss out, the Briton, on a place in the final. Otherwise, she'll be there. Next up, it's Irina Yarotska of the Ukraine, qualified in 6th position for these semi-finals. Remember, 8 go through. There she is. 17 years old, from Kiev, the capital of the Ukraine. The Gart Club lists the beam as her favourite apparatus. 6th all-round in Ghent, the World Championships.
This is what's good for Beth. She knows that she's beaten many of these gymnasts. Nice circles there in L grips. Good transition. High Jaeger piked, but only a B element travelling over the bottom bar, so losing the possibility of bonus points, but very clean. Well executed toe on, toe off into half turn, into double front, but just a little bit messy with the knees and feet. But another clean routine, so the standard of the girls' work on bars started off a little shaky with 2 or 3 falls from the first few gymnasts, but we really have had some excellent clean performances since.
Yes, starting, of course, with Korkina. We'll see Jarotzka again on the beam. Qualified in 8th position, I believe, for the beam semi-final. That is her favourite apparatus. Just wait to see her marks. There are a few low marks in the semi-final, as you mentioned, Monica. There were a good few mistakes in the early routines, but gymnasts seem to be coming together now, getting their routines together.
That double front somersault from inverts, and of course, to really hope to get into the medals, and of course the girls are looking to get into the finals right now, they have to have a big and solid and secure dismount. And that was an excellent routine, but the dismount was scrappy, a little bit untidy, and certainly not secure on the landing.
Well, so far the best dismounts we've seen have been Korkina's, of course, and Beth Tweddle's from the United Kingdom, from Liverpool, currently lying in 2nd place. And remember, it's the top 8 who make the final, and there are 6 to go, 7 to go after Jarotzka. Still waiting for her marks. Next to go is Nan Zhang, who's been a bit of a star here in Debrecen. Not so much here, qualifying in 7th place, but elsewhere on the beam and on the floor, qualifying top. 9.337 confirmed as Jarotzka's mark. And that'll put her in 3rd place. It means that we will have a Briton in the final. We're going to take a short commercial break. We'll see you after it. Welcome back to Debrecen, World Artistic Gymnastics Championships. Nan Zhang of China. Mentioning her before the break that she has been a bit of a star here, qualifying top for the semi-finals in 2 of the disciplines. Not here on the A bars, qualifying 7th.
She's made 3 finals, so and this is such quality gymnastics. No matter what position she is in, she's got beautiful straight arms.
Just watching delayed pictures of Zhang, you heard the crowd cheering her at the end of her routine. She just started before we came back from our break, but we will be live with live pictures straight after this.
And that was spectacular, I would think. Classy, in the same league of quality as Korkina's, most surely. Lovely combination there. Flared arm, full turning giant in inverse into the Jaeger catcher, but just look at the quality of the line. But here, a knee bend and really a catastrophe. It could have been terrible if it had been in the final, and I don't know how badly it will affect her. A severe bend of the knees can be anything up to 2/10, and that could be quite crucial to her score.
Probably good enough to make the final, though.
Oh, yes.
16 years of age.
But what
from
a talent.
Beijing, and what a talent. We will be seeing more of her, as we mentioned. Qualified top for the semi-finals on the floor, qualified top on the beam, qualified in 7th place here on the A bars. The judges still deciding what marks to take off. Watching pictures of Lyudmila Eyova from Russia. Another of the big favourites here. She'll be wanting a medal to go home with, just preparing for her routine. 20 years of age.
And a new haircut. So,
quite a severe one. I think we share a barber.
Yayova, a real quality gymnast, in as much that she is so well balanced physically and has such innovative skills in her exercises, but often comes to grief on bars. Her most secure piece of apparatus is beam, but she is a spectacular bar worker, and she would have a chance of a medal on this discipline, most definitely. It's just whether or not she can deliver. But Zhang down to 9.025.
9.025 for the Chinese star of these championships. Probably will be good enough for a place in the final. Depends what comes next. You've got Yayova, you've got Petrovsky of Romania, Jaranova of Belarus, and Cupid of the United States of America still to come. They'll all be fancying their chances of a medal if they can keep it together. So, Yayova.
Depends very much on start value. Zhang 9.6, but Yayova, I would suspect, is 9.899. Going well so far. Nice hop, full pirouette into somersault, and plenty of turning and releasing and catching going on. Oh, a little mini crisis on the bottom bar. Just the dismount to do, and she's home and dry, not too many errors. Double front with a poor half turn, but filling the requirements, and most certainly good enough for the final, I think. We'll wait and see the judge's decision.
Trained by Leonid Arkayev in Russia. Hugs from friends and teammates. It's never an easy wait, is it? Just to get your marks.
And that's the not so good technically half turn on the double dismountment. 9.512 from a 10 start value, which pushes her into a convincing second place.
A convincing second place, yes. 9.782 Korkina, 9.512 Yayova. Russia first, Russia second, Great Britain third. Beth Tweddle, 9.387. And Yarotska of the Ukraine, 9.337, is back in fourth place. Just 4 to go, the top 8 qualifying for the final. And here is Ioana Petrovsky of Romania. Very nice.
And challenging there, trying her dismount in the straight position, but it was neither one shape nor the other. Plenty of difficulty, but lines not nearly so crisp as were demonstrated from Tweddle, Yayova and Korkina, nor in fact Van Leuven. But a very strong girl. With every little shift of the hands and movement on the apparatus, and every little bend of the knees or turn up of the toes is noted.
Qualified in 4th place for the semi-finals. A reminder, of course, the marks do not carry through. Just got to get in the top 16 to make the semis, and just got to get in the top 8 to make the final.
But a big dismount, double twisting double, and that puts her in 3rd place, ahead of Tweddle.
9.487. She'll be back for the final.
And it's the big dismount that does it for her. Double twisting, double dismount, the only one we've seen in the competition so far, and that's huge difficulty at the end of a 10 tariff bar routine there from Petrovsky, but still, I stick to my opinion that it didn't have the sharp lines of some of the other gymnasts.
The 22-year-old Tatiana Zharganova from Belarus.
And she's come to grief, getting out of it as graciously as she can, but under-rotated in her skill, and she had to escape and break the flow of the exercise, and obviously lost on a combination value which will affect her start value. Back in full out, a very high dismount. That was such a shame.
Yeah, we'll be disappointed if she doesn't make the top 8. Qualified in 5th. She's been around a bit. Zharganova, Olympics in Sydney and Atlanta, World Championship in Ghent, Tianjin, in Lausanne, and in Shanghai. Qualified, competed too in Patras, in Paris, and St. Petersburg, the Continental Championships. Coming towards the end of her career. Does list the bars as her favourite apparatus?
Well, with strength like that, I don't wonder, because we're talking about supreme bar workers when we look at the top, even the top 16 in the world. But she's looking at trying to get in the top 8. And the slightest error, the slightest knee bend or minute step forwards can be something that can eliminate you from the final. But she did make quite a big error, but very clearly defined dismount, full in, back in rather, full twist out. So 2 somersaults in the tuck position, twisting in the 2nd somersault, and she's pretty cheesed off. 9.062 and start value 9.7, so she obviously lost some bonus points on the way on her little swing half turn when she was under rotated, and she didn't make her forward giant from that blind, the half turn into reverse grasp.
Yes, and she'll now be hoping that only one of the remaining 2 gymnasts can beat that score, 9.062, good enough for 7th place for the Belarusian. And so, Tijana Komskova of the Czech Republic, very tall gymnast, 167 centimetres, not sure what that is in feet and inches.
She's done really well to qualify and for the final. She really has. She vaulted also, didn't she? Yes, she made 2 finals. That's excellent. A very solid double tuck front.
Jana, a close friend of the 3 times British champion Lisa Mason. Both quite tall. She enjoys snowboarding and dancing in her spare time. a 19-year-old from Zlin. And her ambition to make the final in the 2004 Olympic Games in Athens.
That sounds like a very, very reasonable ambition. I'm sure that she could. She keeps on working because in the latter years of her career, she really has improved tremendously. As I said, this is her second semi. She's just hoping she can squeeze into the final, but I don't know whether that was quite good enough.
She'll need to be in 7th place with Cupid's coming next. Just one to come. Courtney Cupid from the United States, but one of the fancies for silver. 9.050. Just probably not good enough. It puts her in 8th place, but the American still to come.
So a bit of a nail-biting finish to this semi-final.
There's some pressure on Cupid's, but she knew she'd have to produce something in the region of 9-1 to get through to the final. This is a world championship after all. Qualified 2nd for the semi-final.
Very nice combination. And this is excellent work. Lovely combination into the Kachev. And she is going for broke. She really throwing all the difficulty, and it's coming off. Full twisting double. Well, my hunch is that she will not nudge, but push Kormskova out. Highly technical start and some innovative work in the middle. Let's have a closer look at it. This is the endo, with a full turn on the end of it into a Voronin hop, which is quite an unusual skill and not terribly difficult. The combination was good.
Difficult for many of these girls with Korkina in the field. They know that unless Korkina messes up big time, and she hasn't done that for years, silver is the best they're going to do.
Yes, that's true, but then it has moved the standard of asymmetric bars to far greater heights. Having somebody that good, it makes anything you do rather minimum. But look at that, 9.55. She has pushed a few noses out there. That was a jolly good score because it was a spectacular routine. And she pushes
9.5, qualified 2nd for the semi-final. She's qualified 2nd for the final. So there you go, Korkina as expected, then Cupid, then Yayova, Petrovci from Romania, Beth Tweddle from Great Britain, from Liverpool, qualifying 5th for the final. And Zheranova, just the Belarusian, makes the final. Those girls miss out. Those girls will have to come back and try again, maybe at the Olympics in Athens. We're going to take another break. When we come back, it's the beam. Don't go away.